Good morning, and we're back with Shades of Green on KDWN, 720 Talk Radio in Las Vegas. Our guests today, Annette Bubeck from Green Alliance and Stan Hannell from Drive Clean Energy. We're talking about Green Fest and the Green Gala, and then Stan's going to give us an update on the procession and electric vehicles here in a minute. So back to the gala, we were talking about that, Annette. What else can you tell us about that that's interesting? And I understand we're looking for some nominations.
Yes. So again, the Green Awards Gala this is our first one, and we're partnered with USGBC, the organization of the U.S. Building Council, and really what we want to do is recognize the leaders in our marketplace, in our Southern Nevada, who are doing great things. We do have a Lifetime Achievement Award that we'll be presenting to Pat Mulroy. And you know who Pat Mulroy is?
I think everyone in the valley
yes.
that's had a drink of water
yes.
knows who Pat Mulroy
She's
is.
our water czar, and so we're going to be honoring her with that wonderful, prestigious award. And then we have 6 other categories that you can nominate for, and they're on the website. We also have our Environmental Hero Award, which is something that we've been doing at Greenfest every year, which is really, again, more something that we like to give to people who are on the ground in the weeds of making a change. And we've had several different members of our community receive that before. It's Rob Dorenson's Environmental Hero Award. In fact, Stan Hannell is one of our recipients as well. And it just goes to show that people that are out there doing great things, not because they have to, not because they're getting paid to, but because it's just something that they're completely passionate about. And those are the 2 most prestigious awards, and then we have the 6 categories. But we're excited about it. I think that it's going to be a way for us to really celebrate those that are doing a great job in whatever area of focus they're in.
So along with Green Fest, we have the Green Gala, and then to kick off the Green Fest, we have the electric vehicle procession. Tell us a little bit about that, where that starts and everything, what time that gets going.
You bet. So, gosh, I don't know, Stan, I think it's our 4th, 5th year that we've done this. We like kicking off Greenfest with call it a procession, but it's more like a small parade of electric vehicles. It's a way to illustrate how beautiful electric vehicles, how quiet they are, and how good looking they are, and just bringing the community together. So anybody that has one, any alternative fuel vehicle is welcome to join us. So if you have a hybrid, if you have an electric vehicle, we even have Republic Services bringing their great big recycling truck, which is CNG. Anything and everything. I think we've had scooters, we've had cyclists, you name it. Just join us at Las Vegas Cyclery at 7:30. We'll gather there and get organized, and then we leave Las Vegas Cyclery at 8:30, travel downtown center, up Sahara, back over to downtown Summerlin, and do a procession in, and that's how we kick off at Greenfest.
So it's not just electric vehicles, but sustainable vehicles.
Any alternative fuel vehicle.
And I understand one of the things we can learn about at the Green Fest is if you've got an electric vehicle, you want to talk to the solar folks and find out how to tie that all together in your home and charge your vehicle with solar from your home and power your home and receive all the rebates and everything goes along with home solar, residential
solar.
Yes,
all of that will be there. In fact, even NV Energy is going to be there offering free energy audits as well, which is something I didn't mention earlier. So there's just, I'm telling you, there's so much that is going to be available, for something for everybody.
It's almost like we need 2 shows to talk about this.
Just about.
So that's all good stuff, and Stan's going to give us a more update on the procession and the vehicles and an update on electric vehicles and those kind of things. But before you do, I love that Tom Swift electric runabout story that takes us back 100 years of where electric vehicles started and why aren't they all electric? Why haven't they been electric? Stan, tell us about that.
Right, yeah, no, it was a fun series of stories I found. My dad had read them when he was a boy in Dodge, Nebraska, and later became a mechanical engineer, worked at Lawrence Livermore Lab. But it was written around the turn of the last century, and Tom Swift was a boy inventor after, sort of like Thomas Edison, but a series of stories. The most famous one that people might know about Tom Swift, the Tom Swift and his electric rifle. basically the taser was named after Tom
Really?
Swift. Yeah, the inventor of the taser named his device after that story that he read. But there was a series of them, basically on transportation. Tom is, if you ever saw a Johnny Quest cartoon as a kid, it's kind of along those lines, Jack Armstrong, All-American Boy, those kind of genres. But this particular one was the fourth in the series, and basically Tom goes about inventing a better battery. And this is in 1910, over 100 years ago. And one of the opening comments his dad is asking about, he says, tell us more about that battery. What system do you use? Lead plates and sulfuric acid? Oh, that's out of date long ago, declared the lad. And then his father says, well, I don't know about electricity. What is the chemistry in there? It's an oxide of nickel battery with steel and oxide of iron negative electrodes. So what solution do you use, Tom? Asked Mr. Swift. I didn't get that far in questioning you before we got together here. He says, I'm using a solution of potassium hydrate, but if I add some lithium hydrate to it, I think it will make it stronger. So
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
And so what are our batteries made of today? To bring all those one-thing gas listeners in. What are our batteries made of today?
Yeah, lead acid with sulfuric plate. So yeah,
So we could have had electric cars 100 years ago and foregone all these chemicals in the air from these gas-running cars.
And there were attempts. Thomas Edison did try to create a nickel-iron battery that was superior and lasted a long time. Some of those batteries that he created went for years. But again, it was a heavy device. I think Edison had a fire in his laboratory that kind of discontinued that. And then he actually did partner with Henry Ford. They were good friends, and they looked at an electric car. As I mentioned in a previous show, Henry Ford's wife, Clara, actually never liked those gasoline vehicles because they were noisy and smelly, and you had to, they were messy. So she always drove an electric car. She had a Baker model electric car for years, and if you ever visit the Henry Ford Museum, you'll see a lot of plug-in outlets that she used to refuel her electric car and go into town. Top speed back then was only maybe 25 miles per hour. The roads weren't very good, but that's what she used. And so around the turn of the last century, electric and steam and gasoline all kind of competed, but it was the electric starter motor that actually made the gasoline vehicle actually more practical. A lot of people had to hand crank those gasoline-powered cars, and people were getting hurt. There was actually one of the motivations for creating the electric starter was that people were getting injured, and so the Cadillac company at the time tried to find a better way. And so basically once the electric starter was built, and then also the electric cars were basically converted horseless carriages, so they were handmade, they were custom crafted, coachcraft, that sort of thing. It's kind of a lost art now, but when Henry Ford came along with his assembly line and was able to mass produce parts and then just focused on the gasoline car, that's basically what popularized it. Also, electric cars were popular in the cities where you had factories and electricity available, but not so much in the rural areas, which were much larger in the country at the time. So that's why another reason I think that the Model T took over. It could burn not just gasoline, but any type of fuel, even alcohol.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about that and where gasoline came from and how those cars started getting fueled when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back.